Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to see Salesforce messaging chat window loading issue or not sent error message on the Salesforce messaging for web chat window. Let's look at the issue first. This is my third party website. This is my GitHub website where I have hosted Salesforce messaging for web. So I got the code snippet from embedded service deployment. I hosted it in my GitHub site and I am trying to initiate Salesforce messaging for web. It is still loading and it will keep on loading, and then it is not allowing me to initiate the chat. If I try to see the error, I'm getting some 404 error, and then I'm getting failed to load the resource from the server. So this is an issue. If I just refresh the page, I'm able to see the chat window is opened, and if I try to send a message like demo testing, in some time it is throwing me an error saying that not sent. If I want to resend the message, I can click this resend. Even if I try resending, I may get the same error. Let's see the possible reasons for this issue and how to troubleshoot and debug it so that we can resolve the issue. So here the main reason I'm getting this issue is recently I made a particular field in the messaging session object as required. So the required field which I made was this language. This is a custom field. I created it and then I made it required. So whenever we make a field required in messaging session, we have to make sure that this particular field is populated. Or we can do hidden pre-chat and then we can pass the value whenever the chat is initiated, so that the messaging session record is created with this field which is required. So make use of pre-chat field or hidden pre-chat so that the required fields are filled. One more thing where we have to see is we have to check on the messaging session whether we have any validation rules. If you create any validation rules, make sure whenever the chat is initiated, the validation rule is not getting fired. Same thing, we have to check triggers, and also we have to check flow triggers. So if you are having any validation in the before insert or before update on the messaging session object or entity, then we have to make sure we are not stopping the chat to load. So these are all the things we have to check it on the messaging session. Why we have to check all these here are, whenever the chat is initiated for Salesforce messaging for web, it creates conversation record, messaging session record, messaging user record, and other object records, so that the chat is initiated and then it gets routed via omnichannel. So there are so many entities that are crucial in loading the chat. So make sure whenever we touch these objects, if you are making any development on flow, trigger, validation rule, or any custom fields creation with making it mandatory at the database level, then we have to make sure the thorough testing is done so that it can be pushed to production. So the first thing is make sure we are not stopping the chat window to load because of making some validation rules or flow or trigger validation or making a field required. So now since I fixed that field, I'm going to start the chat. It is loading. I can see the chat window is loaded. Now if I send any message, it says that it is sent. Previously it was showing us not sent. Let's see some additional things where we can debug and troubleshoot it. Let's say you didn't create any custom fields or any validation rule, flow, or trigger on this messaging session object, and still you are facing the same issue. Then let's see the additional information which can be checked so that we can fix or resolve this issue. So the first cause we saw the field is not required. Next is we also saw a validation rule. Next we also saw we are making sure that there are no flows or which is stopping. So here I don't have any flow triggers, and also I don't have any triggers. Next is trigger, we concluded that. And next is we have to make sure storage limit is not exceeded. So go to storage usage in Salesforce setup and make sure you have the storage. It is only 19% used, so my storage limit is not exceeded. If the storage limit is exceeded, then messaging session records and other related records like conversation, messaging, user records cannot be created, so it will not load the chat window. So make sure the storage is not exceeded. So this is the cause 5. And one more important thing which we have to check is, let's say you are using a third party website. In the third party website, whenever you get the embedded service code snippet, so this is the code, we put it on the third party website. So make sure this code snippet is not copied and pasted on the same page multiple times. This is one thing if you are using third party website. Let's say you are making use of messaging for web in your experience cloud site. In that case, make sure you are adding the embedded messaging on the footer. So this is the standard component which we add. So make sure you are adding it on the footer. If you have a strong business use case that it cannot be added on each and every page, it should be on a specific page, then add it to the page level section, and make sure you are not adding multiple times. So if you go to this page structure, make sure in the whole page structure it should be added only once. If you add it in the sidebar, or if you add it in the content section, make sure you are not duplicating. If you add the same standard embedded messaging in content footer, sidebar, and content and or content header, or on the sidebar featured section, these duplicate embedded messaging. And also if you are using third party website, if you are adding the same embedded service code snippet multiple times, the JavaScript will conflict, which will prevent the chat window to load. So that is also one important thing we have to check. Please check the video description. In the video description, I have shared my blog post. From the blog post, you should be able to get the causes and also how to fix those causes. So if you are having some issue with cause 2, then you can check how to find or debug the issue so that you can easily resolve it. I hope it was helpful. Thank you for watching.